Are we all back? Dear colleagues, welcome once again, and this time on behalf of this year's EMYA jury. And thank you also for coming back from delicious cakes and coffee so that we can actually continue working and sharing inspiring work experiences and learn from each other. Thank you all for being here, for giving your contribution to this important event. And even though many of us continue to work as if little has fundamentally changed in the past year, it is becoming increasingly clear that we are entering a period of significant societal transformation. The principles and values we all once thought permanent, and principles and values we heard in speeches before me from Kai and Tanya, thank you very much for setting the tone for this year's conference. So these principles and values are being challenged and dismantled, and this is something we have witnessed over the past year. So across various sectors, including the cultural field, we see closure of diversity, equity, and inclusion offices, while at the same time we have narratives rooted in power and dominance that are gaining traction. And in such a climate, the relevance of museums might appear, the least to say, marginal or easily overlooked. And this is why I am especially grateful to be here with all of you, to reflect not only on innovation and excellence in our sector, but also on what we can consider to be an impact of our work. What do we achieve with all these conversations, exhibitions, public programs? What is our impact in the field? In a time when core values and notions like democracy, rule of law, solidarity are being questioned or even replaced by historical revisionism and rising xenophobia, our role, and in that also, let's say, responsibility becomes even more important. So museums are spaces of memory, but that also brings a lot of burden and gives us also this we have to be responsible in how we deal with the difficult past, with how we address memories, how we talk about that. And while we are here to speak also about solidarity and mutual support, this year I have a special story to share because due to increased intensity of ongoing war in Ukraine this year, our judging visits, we face a lot of difficulties in completing all our judging visits, as among the candidates we had Ukrainian museum. But thanks to the generosity and commitment of our Polish EMYA community, I would like to name some people that really contributed to help us make this possible and to complete our work for this year. So I would like to really thank my dear fellow judge, Dominika, I hope to pronounce your last name well, Mroczkowska-Rusniak, something like that. National correspondent from Poland, Andrzej Zugaj. And finally, all Lukases from Sobibor and Majdanek museums that were the winners of special commendations for last year, but all of them drove me for several hours to the Ukrainian border, and where I was met by Ukrainian colleague Peter Kolba. I also hope to pronounce that well. And so all this solidarity and help really was essential for making EMYA jury work possible and complete for this year. So this is really an illustrative example, I would say, of what EMYA and wider European community stands for. So it's solidarity and mutual support even in the most difficult of circumstances. And you already did applaud, but I really invite you to join me once again to applaud for our mutual connectedness and solidarity in the sector. So this year, in the 48th cycle of the program, there are 42 nominees from 18 Council of Europe member states, as you can see on the map behind me. And this diverse array of nominees reflects the richness and variety of the European cultural landscape, but it also highlights the interconnectedness that I referred to before of our shared values, our shared heritage, and reminder that while our perspectives and places of origin may differ, we are united by a common sense of human experience. And I really hope that we will somehow cherish this as a sector. Throughout the conference, we will hear about the inspiring work of this year's nominees, of all of you. And we will attend a series of panel sessions that will offer a wide range of valuable insights and perspectives. So some of the themes that we will be hearing about include transformative and engaging practices in museums, their potential to strengthen democracy and civic participation. And these sessions will also, of course, explore many other thought-provoking topics that I will not now spoil it all and tell you about all the topics you will hear about just in a bit. And we can all hopefully listen, reflect, and grow together by listening to all these wonderful presentations and work. So for the EMYA2025 session, the jury was composed of 10 members from different parts of Europe. And during the summer and autumn of 2024, we managed to visit all candidate museums in all 18 countries, and some museums were visited twice. And what is truly remarkable about European Museum Forum and European Museum of the Year Award program is that everyone involved in the process is doing this on a voluntary basis. And I really like to emphasize every year, rest assured that it takes really countless hours, dedication, and a great deal of passion to run this program every year. And as all of you are here to hear more about the judging process, because whenever we members of the jury travel around, everybody's asking us, like, how does the process look like? When do we expect to hear back from you? What is happening? So I would like, once again, to explain all different stages of the judging process, but really in a nutshell, I will not keep you for too long. So the first stage, as you can see behind me, is eligibility check. So once we receive applications from all different museums across Council of Europe geographical area, we then distribute them electronically to the members of the jury. And at this stage, we, let's say, assess these applications in light of the eligibility criteria. So we make sure that all museums that submitted their applications meet eligibility criteria. And once this process is completed, then we proceed to a second stage, which means we start with first judging visits the field, visit all the museums. In the second stage, so we then, after the first round of visits, write very detailed reports and really share everything we saw, learned, and heard while talking to all of you. And then we share it with each other, and we decide if which museums we would like to nominate as a visiting judge to which award. And in case of a nomination for European Museum of the Year Award and for the Council of Europe Museum Prize, there's a third stage, which is second round of visits. This is where we visit museums anonymously, so we don't meet the staff, we visit as general public, and really get an insight of how it is to be a visitor in a museum that we are assessing. And the fourth stage is the annual meeting of the jury, which takes place every year in Portimao, in beautiful Portimao, that Pedro is hosting us at. And this is where we discuss all our reports in detail, all our nominations, and this is where the final decisions are made for every cycle in November. And finally, I would like to thank my fellow judges from the EMYA2025 judging panel for their dedication, diligence, and in deciding who the winners are for this year. And with the valuable contribution of each jury member, it was very difficult, as you can imagine, but we believe that we were able to make fair and just decisions that we believe were the right and just. So I also want to express appreciation to Pedro Branco, European Museum Forum Administrator, for his support to the jury, to Afsen Al-Taili, who is our communication manager, for his invaluable contribution and support in this cycle of the program. And of course, throughout the yearly cycle, jury receives support from the EMF board, and I would like to thank the board on behalf of the jury for supporting us throughout this year as well. And lastly, I want to acknowledge invaluable support we receive from our partners, Council of Europe, National Museum Association, EMF National Correspondence Network, and other partners. And of course, special thank you this year goes to the city of Białystok and Sybir Memorial Museum for hosting this year's conference. I wish us all productive and enjoyable conference, and now it's your turn to present your work. So I would like to invite dear colleague Fred Van Bosse, European Museum of the Year Award jury member, to join me on stage, and also representatives of museums that are presenting their work in the first panel.
Hello, everyone. Special hello to my fellow panelists. Please, a big shout out once again. As this is the first of 9 nominee panels, I can imagine you can imagine that all of us are a little nervous. So, but taking on the spirit of the first lectures this morning, I think we will be fine. Thank you, Amina, for the important words you have just addressed to us. And I think it is in the spirit of what you have explained also about the hardships that many of the museums go through in the different places that they operate, that we start the first panel today, a panel of representatives of museums, of which some are working under the very difficult conditions of threats for democratic ideas, values and structures, of threats to life even under the conditions of war. What unites the 4 museums represented on this panel under those different circumstances they operate in is that in their work they strive to address a diversity of communities. But more than address, they are museums that engage in a museum practice that puts community participation at the forefront. And what this can mean, we will hear in their presentations. And museums that champion traditional museum models and instigate change, and by that enable transformation, even and especially when operating under the difficult circumstances to pursue museum work, which we have heard before. So please join me in welcoming the panelists. And I'll start to my left to welcome Mia Leistert, who is the director of the Foundation Museum Overtoci in Aarhus in Denmark. And sitting to her side, Marta de Almeida from the Serralves Museum Porto in Portugal, who is the deputy director of the museum. Sitting in the middle is Adam Saskal, who is representing Istanbul Modern today, and the director and the manager of international relations of the Korsaks Museum of Ukrainian Modern Art in Lutsk in Ukraine, which is Tetiana Repnitska, the director, and Orusya Charitonyuk, the international relations responsible. Before we start, let me lay out a little bit how the panels are structured, as this will be the first of 9 panels. We will start, each of the representatives will do a short presentation, and as all of you who will be sitting on this podium have heard probably numerous times, we have asked to limit yourselves to 5 minutes. There's a red number here, a countdown, so you know. And then we'll engage in a little discussion amongst us. And then those of you who have been at previous EMYA conferences have made possibly the experience that they would have liked to ask a question, but there usually was no time because we have time constraints, and it is hard to open up a debate if you have only a couple of minutes left. And we tried this year to change that and came up with something that I will explain just briefly. So there is a website or app, it's called Slido, slido.com, S-L-I-D-O. It is also, you can see, those of you, I hope most of you can see it, it's on the bottom left of each panel slide. You can see slido.com, and then there's a code. And please, if you can't read it, I will read it aloud maybe once, so you can write it down. There's a code by which you access the website that is for our conference. And there in the drop-down menu, you will see the different panels, 1 to 9. And when you click on the right panel, which is panel 1 here, you can type in a question during our conversation already. And everyone who is on that page will see the typed in questions by others. And they can like the questions. So you can kind of upvote questions by others or type in a question of your own. And by that, we will have a sense, I will have a sense, I have this magnificent iPad up on the stage. I will see during our discussion what questions you as audience might have, and read those questions, or at least some of them. You have to limit yourself to 160 characters. Those of you who grew up with SMS are in clear advantage because it's a limited number, but you can if it has to be longer, you can also even add something in a reply to your own question. So the number, in case you can't read it now, is 131355. And I'm sorry for this kind of technical information at the start of this great panel, but I thought it's good to make sure that you know of this. And maybe you can try already now whether it works to access. It's just in your browser on the phone. You can put in slido.com and type in that number and make sure you choose the right panel. Yes, I think that's it. Maybe one last announcement, and Amina has laid this out, but I think I may repeat this once. As you have heard, we have made the decision about the awards in our November meeting in Portimao. So whatever you say on the podium, it doesn't affect our decision of the awards because it has already been made. So no need to be nervous here. I will welcome Mia Leistet now on the stage, and she will be joined by her colleague, Georg Schwarz, who is in the audience, who will then later on take also a seat at the podium. Please.
Thank you. Hello, Europe, and hello, everyone. Thank you, Białystok, for your welcoming. It has been a very warm welcoming here, and it's very inspiring and exciting, and we are so happy to be here. Thank you for organizing this tremendous conference and awards ceremony. We should be starting here with a small introduction video. The spirit is about social tolerance, inclusiveness, about attention and respect for the individual person, regardless of her or his background, and about being able to talk openly about what is difficult.
There is a radicality about it that's very interesting today, and what he's investigating, the themes.
It relates to today. It is amazing.
Yeah. And to show that being a human being is a lot of different things, and it's important that you can be whoever you need to be and whoever you are, and still have a place.
Yeah.
So Owatashi can be kind of like an icon, also like a prism, someone to reflect in, somebody to see oneself in.
We hope to be able to inspire and enrich people in their view of themselves and their view on the world, and perhaps inspire as well other cultural institutions. We want to be a museum for everyone.
We have traveled from the northern Norway. Yeah. It's a long way, but it's worth the travel time. It's been a wonderful experience and a magical place to see. Both the architecture here, the building, and
beautiful.
And the new museum inside. It's amazing.
I have never seen like this an exhibition, so it's so beautiful. Really, I'm so touched.
Yeah,
we are so touched.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have to press this button. Yes, thank you. It's easier than I expected. Our vision and our activities at Museum Owatashi are inspired by the artist Owatashi. Who was he? Owatashi was a psychiatric patient for 56 years in Aarhus. Creating art eased his mental struggles. He created more than 800 artworks, paintings, sculptures, now on display at our museum. His mind is like a prism, through which we see the world even today. His art is deeply relevant because through his colorful life, his identity and gender in flux, he challenged the definition of normality. Sorry. And here you see Owatashi and one of his paintings. We have a unique narrative with a focus on art and how creativity and inclusiveness can better the lives of people struggling with their mental health. Our main task, therefore, is to foster understanding and remove the taboo around mental illness. This focus is a huge opportunity for our museum because this topic is more relevant than ever. We make it possible that many people feel better through art and culture by walking new paths. How do we do this? We reach out to unconventional venues, projects, and new audiences who are not part of the local cultural agenda. We bring art to public spaces, libraries, hospitals, and even to public transport. We invite young people in our museum to set the agenda in workshops, events, and even as curators of exhibitions. We organize a collective gardening project, including yoga and mindfulness sessions. We strive for a social impact through art and creativity. Focusing on every single person is our main goal, because for us, everybody is unique and special. Come and visit us. Come and visit our museum in Aarhus, in Denmark. You are always welcome, because you are unique as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mia. Marta, the stage is yours.
Good morning to all, and thank you so much for the possibility to be here today. So I'm Marta Almeida from Serralves Museum, Deputy Director of the museum. From the vantage point allowed by time, we could now say that the 90s were crucial to understanding the museum as it's today. Not a mere repository of objects, a space for displaying knowledge with a fundamental pedagogical role, but increasingly a place of choice for artistic debate and experimentation. Glenn Laurie, director of the Museum of Modern Art, wrote in 1999, in this case, the museum is no longer the home of the muses, nor a center of learning or spiritual discovery, but a muse itself. Since its creation, Serralves has been such a place, a muse museum, dedicated to the multiple knowledge of contemporary art with a multidisciplinary program aimed at the participation of artists and citizens. The Deco Serralves Villa was the main stage for the artistic program in the first 10 years of the foundation, between 1989 and 1999. A reference for a community who had fought since the Portuguese Revolution in 1974 for the creation of a contemporary art museum in Porto. So, since its beginning, Serralves developed an activity that not only a program of contemporary art exhibitions and acquisitions, but also extended its action into the field of the performing arts and film, while reinforcing the fundamental link with the park, a distinctive feature of our institution. However, the period from 1996 and 2002 proved crucial to define Serralves' museological project. It saw the building of the museum and the fundamental definition of the collection historical nucleus. The collection reflects Portuguese artists' production inscribed in an international context and guiding a parameter for the programming as a source of future acquisitions. This national, international, and collecting program dichotomies allowed for the construction of a historical and conceptual web to which serves voices contribute around the Serralves collection. The Álvaro Siza wing opened to the public in October 2023, but it was only in February of the following year that opened with the first exhibitions of the Serralves collection and archives. This extension of the Serralves Museum also celebrating 25 years of its opening to the public and also marks the 35th anniversary of the foundation. Serralves is currently an international reference, an example of development and ambition, artistic, cultural, social, political community that favors creativity, reinforcement of knowledge, and the ability to understand culture and ecology. Therefore, it's crucial to continue to preserve the memory of the past, present, and future that we want to host in so as to rely on artistic enjoyment in order to change our ways of seeing the world and influencing people's behavior. To conclude, I would like to conclude with a good example of what I have described above, announcing a major event that Serralves organizes every year, a 50-hour non-stop festival, free admission, called Serralves em Festa, Serralves em Party. A key public impact event that improves access for different audiences to contemporary art in all its forms, that attract a large segment of general population. It will happen at the end of this month, between the 30th of May and the 1st of June. I would like to highlight the presence of a Polish musician, Wacław Zimpel, and the Zagara Band that will present a fusion of Western electronic sounds and action musical tradition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Tetiana and Orisia.
Hello, dear colleagues. Me and Tatiana, our director, we are very happy to be here, to have this speech with you, and we would like to start from our video about museum to feel atmosphere in our museum.
The Corsacks Museum of Ukrainian Modern Art is an institution that changes the past, reflects on the present, and creates the future, contributing to the development of the nation's spirituality and popularizing Ukrainian art in the world. The museum opened on August 24, 2018, and today has an area of 12,500 m², 15 halls on 4 floors, and a collection of 6,000 exhibits. It features the works of more than 200 prominent Ukrainian artists and more than 800 art objects in various genres: painting, graphics, sculpture, installation, video art, and augmented reality. Over the 6 years of its existence, the museum has organized more than 300 exhibitions and exhibition projects, and more than 100,000 people visit the museum every year. One of the museum's key projects is Cosmogony, a large-scale philosophical and artistic project centered on the largest painting in the world, over 2,000 meters. The author and curator of the project is Victor Korsak. The author of the painting is Petro Antip. Since February 2022, the Korsak Museum has become a place of strength, support, learning, and struggle. The museum's halls hosted free training in tactical medicine and first aid, which was attended by 14,000 people. We launched the Art Battalion Art Marathon and held 500 art events attended by 7,000 participants. We are talking about the future of Ukrainian culture, art education, rebuilding the country, and psychological rehabilitation through art. That's why we organize charity concerts, performances, poetry readings, and performances. We hold exhibitions, excursions, educational programs, master classes for children and adults, and interactive events for young people. Culture is not a luxury. It is the foundation that helps us survive. The Corsacks Museum of Ukrainian Modern Art is a platform for innovation in the museum sector. The museum has been nominated for the European Museum of the Year Award 2025. The museum ensures inclusivity and accessibility for all visitors. It has an elevator, lifts, and ramps. The Corsacks Museum of Ukrainian Modern Art is a place where people and art meet, where the future is born.
And our presentation. So we are the largest museum of Ukrainian modern art in Ukraine. And if you talk about the mission of our museum, it's transforming the past. It means that we are looking for forgotten names of Ukrainian artists. Also, it's reflecting on the present. It means that we want people to come in as one person and live as someone completely different after a visiting of our museum. Also, it's creating the future. It means that we engage young people and children because the rebuilding of Ukraine after the war, we need to rebuild Ukraine. We need a new elite, and also we need an art. If you talk about the successful strategy of our museum, it's based on 3 C letters. It's a concept, it's collaboration, and it's communication. what makes our museum unique in Ukraine, in the world, and what are our specific advantages. Our specific advantages, it's a unique concept, it's a multi-channel approach, it's a convergence, it's a collaboration, it's an intensive exhibition activity, and it is an innovation. The concept of our museum is a big cultural ecosystem with a total area of 12,500 square meters. There are each hall is not just an exhibition, but it's a space with our own unique concept. Our main exhibition is a Hall of Genesis of Modern Art. We explore the influence of nature, religion, culture, and art schools. And also, we are talking about the seven art hubs. It's Western, Transcarpathian, Kyiv, Kharkiv, Dnipro, Odessa, and Southeastern. Also, we have four temporary exhibition halls, and we reject sterility because we create a space there. We don't want to have a difference between exhibition and real life. We believe in convergence, and we created a cultural cluster with various cultural spaces. It's a scientific museum, it's a street art gallery, it's a Mykola Komanovsky museum, it's an experimental theater, cinema, a children's interactive city, and Cossacks museum itself. So we have a Cosmogony project. Cosmogony is it's a large-scale philosophical artistic project with the world's largest painting over 2,000 square meters. The author of this project is Viktor Korsak, and the painter of this project is Petro Antip. And also it's like a separate cluster, and it includes a painting, immersive performance, cosmogony. Also, it's based on 5 international conferences and marches, and also philosophical book. Also, if we talk about our strong points, it's a collaboration and customization. We collaborate with different our local museums, with our Lutsk castle, and also we have a diffusion project with exhibitions in 30 Ukrainian cities. We had it before the full-scale invasion, and the last cities were Mariupol and Berdyansk. It was like 2 months before the full-scale invasion. And also, we have a museum mobile app, we have a virtual tours, digital hall, museum club, also publishing activities. If we talk about inclusivity, we have lifts, ramps, and also we offer tactile tours for people who are blind. And if we talk about the war, it's not only a challenge, but sometimes it can be an opportunity. And in our case, it was an opportunity because, I don't know if you know, but we had a blackout. We didn't have an electricity for example, 3 months or 4 months. And people came to our museum and they asked us to have a normal tour. And we started to use flashlights. And now, for example, we have electricity, we don't have a blackout, but still it's like something special for us and people, and still we have these tours with flashlights. And finally, we would like to thank you, and we have to thank you to all Europeans, because in this dark time, in this dark war, you are our flashlights.
Yeah. Thank you for your support.
Thank you so much to both of you. Adam, it's your turn.
Hello, I'm Adam from Istanbul Modern. And first, we will watch a short video clip about the museum. Okay, so I will try to introduce Istanbul Museum of Modern Art in just a couple of minutes, and I will do my best. So the museum was founded in 2004 as Turkey's first modern and contemporary art museum, and you have already seen the video clip, and also from this picture you can also see that the museum is in a really historic neighborhood called Karaköy, overseeing the two continents, Europe and Asia, and it's just by the Bosphorus. So this was the first museum building which housed the museum until 2018. This was an old customs warehouse, but by that time it was understood that the museum needed a newer place, new building, which would meet the requirements of a modern art museum to enhance its exhibition halls, to provide more spaces for educational purposes, and also to transform its surrounding environment. So a new project began for the new museum building, and okay, so the museum had to move to its temporary space in 2018, and almost around 5 years later, museum moved back to its original location here. And with this new museum building designed by Renzo Piano, with its transparent characteristic and its inclusive identity, the museum had a newer and a more welcoming environment, I would say. Here you see people walking on the promenade by the Bosphorus. This was not possible before the project. So, okay, it went too far. Sorry, I'm having this trouble with the tool. Okay, anyway, I will briefly talk about some programs that we are running. For instance, Women Artists Fund was okay, anyway. This fund was founded in 2016 by the museum's chair, who's a woman, and with other businesswomen. They initiated this program to support Turkish women artists, and each year museum is acquiring new artworks from women artists. We have special days for specific weekdays, enabling people to enter the museum freely with free admission. On Tuesdays, we are focusing on youngsters. On Thursday, we are focusing on everyone who are Turkish residents. Anyway, sorry about this. On Friday, the museum is open until 8 p.m. So in order to celebrate this 2 additional museum entry, we are aiming to welcome different forms of art, such as dance and music. So we organize concerts and dance workshops. Moving on, we have an auditorium, and we organize special screenings of art house films, as well as small-scale festivals. We have a very active and running artist residency program, and with this program we invite international artists to come visit Istanbul, and we are hosting them and providing them a space to research inspired by the city, Istanbul Modernist collection, and the production culture of the city, and we are also enabling them, providing them a space to display their products. And moving on, I cannot move on, sorry about this, my technical problem again. So we have a lot of educational programs you can see from the different colors and the titles. Let me briefly talk about them as well, some of them. Okay, we have a discovery space. It's a special venue, specifically designed in the museum hall. Here, the focus is on a specific artist from our collection, and children here come together and solve puzzles and play games at the stations to deepen their understanding with the artworks. Okay, it went too far. Okay, anyway. Okay, so another venue in our museum is Eco Art Lab. Here we bring together art with ecology within the theme of recycling and upcycling. Another place in our museum venue is Studio STEAM, and it's a place where we concentrate on the STEAM educational model. Here also we are bringing together youngsters through art. Following a Dream is a program that we are really proud of. In this program, we are providing a free art education to more than 50 young women from women artists and women educators. This program was also rewarded by the CIMAM's Outstanding Museum Practice Award last year. We have digital learning tools such as applications in order to foster the interaction with the art pieces in our collection. We also publish art books, such as here you see 2 examples inspired by the museum and also from our collection and artists. We also have a specially designed another educational program focusing on the preschool age group. So this program consists of having children in the collection hall, also in another level, having them get in touch with specifically designed mobile stations to solve puzzles in order to improve their creative skills. So this was Istanbul Modern in a nutshell. Thank you for listening, but I cannot skip the next slide. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much to all of you for giving us insights into your museum practice. And I would like to read just one comment which got the most likes so far. And this is an anonymous person saying, "This is already fun being able to engage." Thank you. And thank you again. I'm reading another question, and I will expand on that with a question of my own. And this goes to Orizia and Tetiana. And one member in the audience has asked about your museum, that you probably work with the concept and practice of resilience, and they would love to hear more about that. And if I may, to expand on this, in your presentation, Orizia, you said that culture, and I thought this was really intriguing to hear, culture is not a luxury, it is the foundation that helps us survive. How does this look? Can you say a little bit about what does this mean for your daily operations? And how does the notion of resilience play into this?
So, as for example, the end of my presentation was about these flashlights. Yes, for example, it's also one part of our activities because we live in very hard times, as you understand, and also we have an art battalion marathon. We have different things related with war, etc. But to be honest, we are like tired. And all of people, civilians, also military. We are tired, and we have to think about something creative, and art. It's the best thing that we can use. And also, we have to say that art it's also a politics, and politics it's art. Everything is related. We have this interdisciplinary approach, and it helps us in these dark times, as I said, with these flashlights. It's one of our projects. Also, we have different projects with children, because as you understand that it's this group it's very weak in this time. Also, we have some lessons for them. We organized conferences about local governance, about some economical issues, etc. Communication, because it's also a part of our concept. 3C, yes, communication, because communication always also help us to survive, to communicate. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you were talking about how children are especially affected, and I would like to take that as a bridge to a question I have for Adam. And I know of your museum that you do a lot of outreach work towards children and youth, and you work with schools. You talked specifically about the Women Art Fund, and in the longer video of Istanbul Modern, which all videos, as most of you will know, are accessible on YouTube, so you can watch them from all nominee museums. Your colleague Dikle Sultan says that you believe in equal opportunities in arts education as an institution, to foster a democratic, inclusive, and creative society. And I'm wondering, what does this mean in this particular time of turmoil? And could you share a few experience or insights with us?
Yeah, of course. So by the way, it's so exciting to be here. So I would say we are going through really challenging times, that's true for sure. But as a museum, as an institution devoting to art and culture, you start the journey by a mission, and that mission is to not only showcasing art pieces and artwork, but also having a mission and organizing particular programs to foster such themes like you mentioned, like it could be democracy, human rights, supporting the public sphere, and also responding to the all problems of today, like whichever you mention. So we believe we are having this responsibility, and in Turkey it's an issue, women not being able to reach an education of good quality. Even though we are a modern art museum, we feel that it's a part of our responsibility, a burden too, but a meaningful burden. And that's why we are trying to focus on this subject, not only for women, but also including all of these variety of problems within the, let's say, the theme of education. So it also brings people from different backgrounds, social and economical backgrounds, and also people with special needs. And since we are talking about women, we have a lot of programs concentrating on women. And we feel that this is a responsibility for us. About the turmoil incidents and events, I should mention that my colleague couldn't make it here. He should have been here, but unfortunately, due to the unwanted events, incidents in Turkey, he couldn't come here. So this is a problem too, how to tackle this. So as an institution, it's also another responsibility for us to not only be saddened by the problems and obstacles around the museum, but also to think how to solve them. So it doesn't stop us, and it will not, and that's why we have this burden on our shoulders too. So this, I would say, this is what we believe.
Thank you so much. I think this last phrase you said, "it doesn't stop us," is really important. Thank you. Marta, you said in your presentation that the Sir Ralph Museum, that you foster involvement and social inclusion through initiatives aimed at disadvantaged group persons and those with special needs by facilitating their access to the programming. And I would be interested, and as I can read from the comments on our Slido, others are also interested, what this particularly means, and I will add one question from the audience that actually goes to all of you, but I will say it here. How do you know that your audiences are diverse, and how do you go about approaching members of underrepresented communities or minoritized communities?
Okay, first we have I didn't have time, the opportunity to present all the programs that we have, but we have a very complex department of mediation that brings the park and museum together. So actually we have several programs and open days, for example, for focusing in the park programs, like, for example, a BioBlitz, that is called a program that thousands of students are invited to come to Serralves to make the inventory of the species, nature species in the park, animals and vegetation, and every year this happens. And it's very rich because we discover all the time different species in the park. I'm giving you an example. Of course, we also have guided tours offered to all kinds of persons and types of groups. And for example, I highlight in my presentation in the slides the partnership that we made with the prisons in the region of Porto, that we invite an artist to go to the prison. And it's something that you cannot see, that work of art that the artist made for the prison, because it's for the prisoners. So it's a way that to invite that community to go to a museum that it's impossible in the other way. So I'm giving you, it's a very difficult example, even because it was not possible to share with the other audience of Serralves that project, only by photographs and a publication. And then we have the big days free. One of them is the one that I mentioned, the Serralves in Festa, the 50 non-stop hour party that gathers everyone from the city. We know that people are coming from all over the country, and even the tourism that exists now in town, but everybody from the city is a moment that can come and do workshops, guided tours to the shows, concerts, you know, jazz, electronic music, to dance, contemporary dance, and even circus, the contemporary circus. So it's a huge variety of a large program that we offer to the city. We also do something that is something special besides our program of exhibitions in the museum. We also have a group of partnerships with a lot of cities in the country, and we show our collection in their cities. Per year we do 25 exhibitions, for example, in cities in Portugal, and of course other that are less. But we also try to bring, you know, Portuguese art to Europe mainly, and to show them. But it's difficult. I know that it will be very difficult to. But we know, and we have a team that studies who is visiting Serralves, and as we are in a park, people are coming to see contemporary art, but also contemporary culture, but also to enjoy the landscape and other themes that are around landscape and ecology.
Thank you so much. I think. There was one comment, and it only got 2 votes, but I'm reading it anyhow. And it says, interesting that all the museums tackle difficult themes via art. Art does seem to let people engage more with difficult themes than cultural history. So this is an interesting point that could be up for debate. But thank you, Marta, and I'm welcoming Georg Schwarz to the stage, who is now, he's the responsible for strategy and development at Museum Ovartaci. And there's a question from the audience that is much better than the question that I would have had. So I'm reading it, and it says, the question is, how do you engage as museum, how do you engage the audience in questioning the concept of normality?
You know, we take a look at the individual, because we say it's relevant to listen what is their stories. Because as we are a museum for psychiatric art, we learn that apparently when you have a psychiatric patient, you lose identity and visibility. And by listening to them and doing projects of all varieties of this kind, like my dear colleagues describe, we try to make an individual approach. And one important thing, which is very impressive, I think, we never speak about their diagnosis or their illnesses. So it's not a topic at our museum. They can be how they are. And this is one of the big compliments, because we as a staff, we mingle with all our the people coming to the museum, but all the young people coming to the creative ateliers. And some of them say, we get a break from our illness at your museum. And this is one of the biggest compliments. Or they say, we can be as we are here at your place. And I think this is the the social impact we most focus on. And so we get directly in contact with our audience, and we speak to them, and when we do projects, we try to individualize them to their needs, which takes, of course, a lot of energy and flexibility, but we see if they get visibility and identity and responsibility, they grow again. And this is something very impressive when you see people coming to our museum several months and they get better in their mental status, and they go back to their work, to their families, they get friends, they get a community at our museum because there are other people who have the same challenges and the same questions. And this is what we mean, the best social impact we can do in combination with the impact of art.
Thank you so much. And I can only imagine that doing that work is a challenge also to you as an institution. And I know that you have said in your video that you invite young people also to set the agenda in workshops, in events, and even as curators of exhibitions. And I would be interested, and maybe this is a question to open to all of you on the podium, how does the work you do and your attempts to include the audience not only in a participatory way, but maybe more in a collaborative way, what challenge does this also pose to the daily operations of museum work? And
of course,
what do you learn? How do you grow? Not only the people you work
of
with.
course, which is the most essential part. They sometimes come with topics we never think about. But this enriches us, and this opens up our eyes for the current topics, for example, the young people are. And this is so essential because if we want to do social change, we have to listen to all members of society. And this is, for example, the first challenge, that they do combinations of topics which we never thought about. And this is, for us, very, very unique and the biggest gift. And then I add one more thing. What we try to do when we include young ambassadors or young curators, we try to put them together with people who have mental challenges, so that they can learn from the other people, and as well the non-mentally challenged people learn how people with these kind of difficulties act and which kind of fears they have. So we learn in the process and in the result, and then the audience is as well completely different. So the whole process from A to Z is very fruitful and very enriching for us, and that's why we do it, and the feedback we get, it's very positive.
Thank you so much. Would any of the other panelists like to comment?
Maybe I can add the challenge that we face in Istanbul is that there's this fact that the cultural hegemonia is in Turkey is very much into Istanbul and maybe other couple of big cities like Ankara and Izmir. So this is a challenge for us as well. So even though we are a major modern art museum in our city, it also becomes, we feel like a responsibility to also not in a way enhance, but also bring our programs or bring solutions to other cities of Turkey in order to support the public participation and also strengthening the idea of having people together, get together, and developing their creative skills. This doesn't only support their vision to art, but all aspects in their lives. So that's why we also aim to organize special events as well, and bringing together institutions in Anatolia, also supporting the civil society there as well. I believe this is a theme that we would like to propose a solution in Turkey as well. And I believe it's meaningful for also institutions to go beyond their surroundings, to take a look at what's going on beyond their peripheries. And this is what we try to do, but it's a long way. It's a big mission. But I would say we find it meaningful in Turkey.
If you talk about us, maybe I forgot in our presentation to tell that customization, like we have this principle of customization of our museum, and it means that we adapt to each visitor because we have different groups. And for example, we have an interesting story with our entry tickets. Our tickets, they are different. Every ticket have like has a picture, like archetype, based on Carl Jung's archetypes, and it means like that. When you choose, because you came to our museum and you choose this ticket, it's like a psychology, it's a mentality, etc. Like it's for every group. And also we have another like problems because we have refugees. Also we had 20 artist refugees in our museum. They lived there, and also we had more 100 refugees in our museum. So we have different groups, and we understand how it's because they are also traumatized, etc. So we have a special approach to. We try to have the special approach to different groups, and yeah.
If I may add, one project in this large gallery space that I found really impressive is that you also provide kind of infrastructures for goods to be distributed to people, right? Yes. So you have the in the large gallery space, in the old warehouse space, you have the you had the
hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. We have hotel, restaurant, cinema, theater. Like we. Do you mean this or no?
Yeah, no, I meant this infrastructural project that you had, like distributing medical goods for
yes,
people.
Medical aid. So in general, we had like 7,000 refugees in our museum, and we had a lot of. 14,000 people participated in our trainings of medical aid. Also, we had some military course, kind of. I also participated from the beginning of the war. And we have a hotel for refugees and shelter, art battalion. Yes. And Tatiana, she is the director of these things in our museum. So, like,
yes,
it's
thank
everything,
you.
like, yeah.
I thought this was very important to also address what it can mean to be an art museum in the context of war you're working in. Yes.
To be everything.
Thank you so much. Marta, you have the last comment.
Yes, it's a short. It's the challenge that we have all the time when in our program to receive groups of people that cannot see. And we have that difficulty of the artworks that cannot be touched. But we also always made that effort and study the possibility, to give a complete tour to that groups of people that are visiting us.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for your input and contributions and sharing insights of your practice, and thank you to the audience for the great question and the comment. This is already fun. Being able to engage gets more traction even, so I hope this will go on for the next panels. And thank you again. Please, a big round of applause for these panelists. And we go on right away, so let me welcome my colleague Sandra Yeaman with her panelists on stage.
So my panel here, good. It's okay, I'm not going to sing, even though the urge is extremely strong in an opera house stage. Good afternoon, everyone. Dzień dobry. I hope you're all sitting comfortably because you're about to go through some time travel, so you might want to put your seatbelts on for this panel. What I have today is Time Travels, Museums on Time, Science, Technology and Solidarity. And today's panel brings together Agnieszka from the Krakow Photography Museum, Pietro with Anna from the Under the Swan Museum, and Hege Anita from the Coastal Express Museum, and Lisa from the Medical History Museum. 4 exceptional museums ranging from photography, medicine, pharmacy, maritime heritage. And together in this panel, we will explore how museums can connect generations, disciplines, communities, while fostering solidarity in an increasingly complex world. So please welcome our wonderful panelists.
Hello everyone. So my name is Agnieszka Olszewska. I'm from the Krakow Museum of Photography. And first you are going to see a short video on the museum.
Muzeum Fotografii w Krakowie to jedyna publiczna instytucja w Polsce zajmująca się wyłącznie medium fotografii. To wyróżnienie, ale też i ogromna odpowiedzialność. Historia muzeum, która rozpoczęła się w 1986 roku aktem powołania, doprowadziła nas do miejsca, w którym dzisiaj możemy powiedzieć, że jesteśmy muzeum kompletnym, otwartym na oczekiwania naszych odbiorców, a wszystko to, co robimy, podkreśla znaczenie fotografii w sztuce i we wszystkich dziedzinach naszego życia.
MUFO w swoich działaniach realizuje ideę muzeum współtworzonego, w którym zaciera się granica pomiędzy instytucją jako nadawcą, a gościem jako odbiorcą i tym samym przestrzeń muzeum staje się współkreowana. Dlatego między innymi działająca przy Muzeum Młodzieżowa Rada MUFO przygląda się naszym działaniom swoim krytycznym i świeżym okiem i wskazuje nam drogę, którą powinniśmy podążać, żeby trafić do nastolatków. Zależy nam na tym, żeby osoby odwiedzające MUFO tworzyły nowe interpretacje naszych zbiorów, żeby dzieliły się nimi i żeby się wokół nich skupiały, a muzeum żeby je przyjmowało i udostępniało jako równorzędne z innymi. Nie wyobrażamy sobie być w pełni muzeum publicznym bez nawiązywania relacji, nie wchodząc we współpracę z naszymi odbiorcami. Dlatego staramy się uważnie i z wrażliwością rozmawiać z nimi o ich potrzebach, ich pragnieniach, by wspólnie, ucząc się od siebie nawzajem, tworzyć przestrzeń kontaktu, spotkania, dialogu albo po prostu milczenia. Chcemy, by różne grupy ludzi czuły się w MUFO bardzo dobrze.
Otwarcie nowej siedziby, a kilka miesięcy później, w maju 2022 roku, otwarcie wystawy głównej zatytułowanej „Co robi zdjęcie?”, modernizacja oddziału MUFO Józefitów, realizacja planów dotyczących rozbudowy zbiorów, ich ochrony i badań dały solidną podstawę do dalszego rozwoju muzeum, sięgania do nowych, ambitnych celów w odpowiedzi na zmieniające się otoczenie.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be still some images from the museum, as we are a museum of photography. And I will be just talking a little bit of how we organize the museum right now. So the Museum of Photography in Krakow, shortly MUFO, underwent 100% renovation and redevelopment in the last few years. And we are now a key center for reflection on photography and also a space for encounters with the medium and with the visual culture in general. So let me be clear, the image is always in the center of the discussion of every activity that we are doing in the museum. We are a passionate people and we create an institution that educates, that inspires, that also learns together with our audience in the world that is so overwhelmed with the visual stimuli. We also actively participate in the life of Krakow and in the life of the cultural community, not only in Poland, but also right now more and more internationally, the community of photography, photography museums, photographers and photography festivals. The museum, of course, collects, preserves, researches on and shares the photographic heritage. And in our daily work, we are mostly guided, and this I really would like to emphasize right now, by an openness to people and ideas, by a responsibility for our heritage, and by a commitment to the highest quality in everything we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, next. Pietro, do you want to take the stage?
Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my great privilege to present you our museum. I'm a manager of District Museum in Bydgoszcz, which is Leon Wyczółkowski Museum. And I would like to introduce you our team, people who saved the Under the Swan pharmacy. It's Professor Wojciech Ślusarczyk. He is a manager of our pharmacy. Today is also Dominika Raduńska-Pacholska, which is curator of the museum, and Dariusz Okoński, who is educator there. It's very important that we are together here in Białystok during the EMYA, and it's a great privilege. So we would like to invite you to our museum and show you a place which was saved from disappearing from the city map. And thanks to our team, it was possible to open our new department. Enjoy.
The Under the Swan Pharmacy is a department of the District Museum that was opened in December 2022. It was established in the location of a pharmacy that has existed since 1853, making it the third oldest in Bydgoszcz, Poland. The collection of the Under the Swan Pharmacy departments contains nearly 8,000 objects grouped into 5 categories.
For a modern museum, it's very important a social quality connected with education. For this reason, we know that education should activate and unify people. We want them to feel that they are part of the local community and can live better. So we try to explain to them the history of pharmacy and promote knowledge about health and the ability to improve own qualifications. For this reason, we created an experimentatorium. So if I wanted to compare our pharmacy to living organism, the permanent exhibition would be the skeleton and the experimentatorium would be the beating heart.
The K space in the facility is the former Galenic pharmacy laboratory from the late 19th century. It's the only one preserved in Poland that has remained unchanged for over 100 years. The entire interior of the room is preserved, including the historical flooring and tiles on the walls. The whole production line that produced a medicine as far back as the 1950s is presented.
We care for the intangible heritage associated with the pharmacy. Former employees are honored with their presence in photographs and wallpapers. All of this creates bonds between former employees and contemporary individuals working at and visiting the place. We continue the long-standing traditions of the place and honor the memory of the people who created it before us. By connecting with the past, we become the successors of the old pharmacists and pass on the secrets of their work to future generations, many of whom are unfamiliar with medicines produced in pharmacies.
Dear colleagues, this competition and of course the nomination is a great honor for us. Our museum is in an old pharmacy, so our mission is promoting not only the cultural heritage, but also the science of human health. After moreover 2 years of our activity, we know that this is not mission impossible. Today, we know that human health depends not only on the absence of disease. It is a general well-being consisting of psychological and social components. Cultural heritage is a part of this. And in combination with healthy skills, it makes the possibility to better life. This is what we want to give to our visitors. In this way, we combine the traditions of the former Swan Pharmacy with the mission of our district museum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro. Lisa?
So, hi. I'm Lisa Sputnes-Movitz, and I'm a director of the Medical History Museum in Gothenburg in Sweden. First, I would like to say how honored my co-workers and I are to be nominated, and thank the organizers for an inspiring conference. And we have already met quite a few new friends here only in the first couple of days. Now it's this thing. Yes. The Medical History Museum in Gothenburg is situated in the city center and a unit within the Sahlgrenska University Hospital. The museum reopened to visitors in May 2023, so we're celebrating 2 years reopened museum in a week from now. After a 4-year closure of renovations. The renovation was initiated by the property manager, and it included offices, collections, stores, and all public spaces and facilities. And the museum has redecorated and built a completely new permanent exhibition as well as a new temporary exhibition. The fact that the museum's collection of around 50,000 objects had to be packed and evacuated and mostly unavailable during the process was a major challenge. And while the museum went through the renovation, we planned the new exhibition from our temporary office. And of course, as we heard before, during the pandemic, we had to work also online to plan this new exhibition. In a staff of only 5 people, all hands on deck is the rule. The new exhibitions were designed and produced in-house by the museum's personnel and supported by external craftsmen. In the building from 1793, there are no square walls. The slope of the floor amounts to approximately 13 centimeters, so we needed local suppliers who were able to measure and build on site. And here you see the green room, which is the earliest of Gothenburg's 400 years of medical history, where the beginning of our exhibition of 400 years of medical history in Gothenburg. The museum was Sweden's first medical history museum. The nurse and supplies manager Ingeborg Kassman laid the foundation in the 1930s at the Sahlgrenska Hospital in the attic there. Here you see her with the Swedish king in 1959. As a supplies manager, she took care of items that were to be discarded, some of great historical value, some simply everyday objects. Today, these everyday objects are often seen as some of the most valuable, and the work process during the refurbishment of the museum gave us an opportunity to let us know more about the collections. In the new exhibition, we show many more objects than before. Some of them are examples of innovation that gained international importance and originated from Gothenburg and the Sahlgrenska Hospital as a vacuum extractor. By also portraying the history of various healthcare professions, the museum has the ambition to encourage people to choose to work in the healthcare, which is a huge challenge that we have before us, to make more people want to work within the hospitals. There is also a room focused on the local public health. With the local history as a starting point, we show how events in Gothenburg had an impact even beyond the city and the country, as well as how what happened in the rest of the world influenced healthcare and health in Gothenburg. 2 rooms are dedicated to the mental institution, Lillhagen Hospital, both everyday objects, and as we see here, patients' art. And we now have a collaboration with the City Museum of Gothenburg, where we have lent them 100 works of patients for a temporary exhibition that opened a few weeks ago. Health and social care programs at high school level have long been frequent visitors to the museum. They are now offered tours that are linked to the school's curricula and form a large part of the museum's educational activities. We have worked to improve accessibility to the premises, physical access in the public areas, pedagogical content, structure and design of the permanent exhibition, and also with making all material available online, as you see here. New after the reopening is also the room for temporary exhibitions. The first temporary exhibition was about the COVID-19 pandemic, and the current exhibition, A Bloody History, tells the history of blood donation and was produced in close collaboration with the Unit for Transfusion Medicine within the Sahlgrenska University Hospital. And one of the aims is, of course, to inspire people to donate. As a small museum with limited resources, collaboration and public outreach is a way of keeping relevance and pull together, whether it is with other museums, organizations, festivals, or universities. The biggest asset in the process towards reopening and onwards has been and is still the museum staff. And most of us are here today, so we're very happy for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Hege Anita, do you want to take the stage, please? And please, audience, keep the questions coming.
Dear jury and dear colleagues, first of all, I'd like to say how honored we are to be nominated for this prestigious award. I'm here together today with a colleague of mine, Brynjar, you sit somewhere in the back, and myself. Thank you also to the organizers for making this event such a very fruitful one. We started out with a heartfelt conviction that the Coastal Express, the history of the Norwegian institution, needed to be told properly. We started out with a heartfelt conviction that we could do it in a very good way. For us to share the history in a very good way means that we need to create value. We need to create value for the locals, for the visitors, for the town of Stokmarknes, which is a tiny town with 3,500 visitors, to history itself and to Norway and to the institution that we are representing by sharing the history. We started out with a ship in very poor condition and a tiny, tiny little museum that we closed down and reopened a few years later. We wanted to create a museum with high impact, but still with low tech. So it's a bit fun to us to be at this topic, talking about technology, how to present history to people. We're not about technology, we're about impact. We believe in touching hearts as a way to connect to knowledge. Just as the Minister of National Culture and Heritage pointed out, we want to create feelings. We aim to create experiences for our visitors, experiences that lead to knowledge and understanding. We deeply appreciate knowledge carried on by hand and by stories, especially the knowledge carried on by our volunteers. We have a big crew of volunteers on our ship, so to say. Many of them are 80 and 90 years old, and they are very happy to share by hand. They don't use any digital measures to share their knowledge. So they share with our workers and with our visitors how they used to operate our ship. I will show you the ship later. And we use tools such as experience design and design and, well, other useful things to share our knowledge. We have made this happen with an almost unthinkable effort from the volunteers, and we believe that we have created now a monument to Norwegian coastal history. It is a landmark in northern Norway, and it is a pride and joy to the locals. And I can share with you that more than 10% of the inhabitants has bought the annual museum pass. If we had been sitting in a big city, we would have many, many visitors. We're located in a tiny place. Most important of all to us is that our museum still carries the legacy of the Norwegian coastal steamer express to connect people. I'd just like to show you where we are. You see the little red dot in the below corner. That's where we are now. And the Hurtigruten Museum is located far, far north, a bit above the polar circle, and directly where highway number 1 is, on the coast of Norway. Welcome aboard. Let's play the film.
At the Hurtigruten Museum, you can visit an actual historically accurate Coastal Express ship. You can enter into it, you can see the bridge, you can eat in the dining room. You can experience it the way that passengers experience it when it was active from 1956 onwards until 1993.
The Coastal Express, established in 1893, was a revolutionary means of communication for the people along Norway's coast. When the first ship traveled from Bergen all the way to Hammerfest, celebrations took place in every port along the route. This journey symbolized the connection between local communities and the national and international world. While European countries expanded their road networks, bridges, and railways, Norway focused on developing its infrastructure at sea. Its primary purpose, however, was to secure faster and more reliable mail delivery.
We also have the salons of the SS Finnmarken, which was a coastal steamer built in 1912. It was salvaged from the Netherlands.
I got hold of all the drawings necessary to rebuild it, everything. And now it is exactly what it was like then.
Our mission at the Hurtigruten Museum resonates deeply with the Hurtigruten itself, to connect people and bring them together. And we do this through concerts, family days, and several other events.
We are very proud of our ship, and we hope to take good care of her for many years to come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to all our panelists for such great presentations. I'm going to start by just giving some individual questions, and then we'll look at how we can kind of broaden, give more broad questions for everyone to have an opportunity to answer. There's been quite a few questions for the MUFO Museum, so I've kind of brought it together. I suppose when you're the chair of the panel, you kind of have the authority to do that, don't you? So I'm using that power. But it is quite interesting, actually, Agnieszka, because the theme really is thinking about what kind of strategies, when you think about a photography museum, so what strategies have helped your museum to engage audiences across generations, you know, across cultures, with some of the difficult, sometimes traumatic and violent images in our histories. Have you got some comments you can make for us all around that?
I'm not sure if I understand now, but you mean like if we have like more difficult topics that are, I don't know, connected to photography, so how we engage people to kind of interpret it or to work with it?
Yes, I suppose it's like if you're a photography museum, at times some of your exhibitions will show a moment in time.
Yes, of course.
And sometimes those moments in times can be triggering for people with memory.
Obviously, yes.
Memory is something we've talked about. And also there's different viewpoints maybe in that moment in time, so building that solidarity around that. So what kind of strategies has MUFO thought about?
Yeah, thank you for this question. So we really work extensively, like in the team, like education and the team, like exhibition team. I'm actually the head of exhibitions and communication, so I work with head of education. Like big team always works on the exhibition from the very beginning. It is true that our exhibitions, they cover very different subjects. So it can be very difficult subjects, it can be something maybe not so difficult or traumatic, but we always try to be prepared, and we try to prepare a program that will be kind of engaging in a, in a very like open and explanatory way. So we choose the subjects that could, I don't know, possibly cause some difficulties, and we create events or I don't know, discussions that that covers this possible, I don't know, problems.
Well, thank you for that, because it is an important thing to think about when we're doing these sort of exhibitions and when we're thinking about building solidarity and the whole concept of that time travel, the past, the present and the future. Pedrev and Anna, I'm going to speak very slow so that you understand my Scottish accent.
Thank you.
Because your English is better than mine. You talked about signs of human health, So I was kind of thinking about how do you ensure stories include underrepresented voices, again across across generations, from early years to older, cultures and discipline, when you're thinking about it through that lens of human health for everyone?
So in our strategy, a museum is like a third place. So we are creating a space for talking about not only history, but also a meaning of our health today. And our educators and our curators, they're cooperating each other to prepare a special program which contains, of course, exhibitions, but also conferences, also events connected with some topics connected with health and health-being. So it is in our strategy also. We know that the problem of creating a space for our visitors to have a possibility to talk about the health, to talk about how to change lifestyle, to prepare for some advantages connected with the modern life. And of course, it is written in our strategy. Maybe Wojtek, you would like to say something more?
Precisely, we are promoting the hygiene, cosmetology. We are making the ointments, herbal mixing, and other types of remedies. And we also promoting the physiotherapy. So this is a vast field, I think.
Yeah, just a follow-up on that, because it is such a vast field, and when you think about building solidarity across cultural perspectives, is this something that you think, it's not, your exhibitions or even your programme is not static, is it always moving, or is it, can you tell us a wee bit about how you do that?
We are looking for a new prescriptions for cosmetics. We are still want to combine the program of exhibitions with program of education. So when we have in the next month the temporary exhibition about the human eyes, so we will have the program with education about the human eyes, for example.
Thank you. Lisa, hello. It wasn't as bad as you thought, was it? It's not as nerve-wracking. Good. I was going to ask, and this also links to some of the points that have been made from the audience, when we think about medicine and we think about, you know, post-COVID, all the kind of issues that flagged up again. How has your museum addressed some of the issues around anti-vaccination, you know, some of the challenges within Western science and Western medicine? Is there anything that you can discuss around that?
When it comes to the exhibition about the COVID-19 pandemic, it was built so early that this with post-COVID was quite a new thing when we opened there. But we really haven't had anyone coming to really question what we are doing or so. So no, I don't really have an answer to, because we haven't really had that kind of challenges.
I wonder if, you know how it was interesting even in the keynote speech today talking about museums not being neutral, and I wonder if that's something, I suppose this is for pharmacy and the medical museums, to think about that counter-argument and how that, using that as a tool to build solidarity. around, you know, misinformation or anything like that? Is this something that either of you have thought about within your museum?
We're part of a university hospital, and university hospitals are huge organizations that of course discuss both sides of everything. So we have a huge support structure there. But I think, yeah, that's what I
Be
have
interesting, that non-neutral stance, wouldn't it? Hege, Anita. Hello. You talked about your museum, and there's 2 points here. One is one from the audience about how you hold on to volunteers, but the other thing I wanted to kind of ask you about was you mentioned, which I think is really important, about it's not just technologies, it's about impact. You know, that's the key thing about your museum. So can you give us some ideas about how that impact, how does your museum, does it serve as a bridge across generations, cross-cultural, to building solidarity and a shared understanding of maritime heritage? Is this?
There could be many ways into this topic, but one of the challenges that we are facing and working with, of course, is that for many today, the Hurtigruten, or the Coastal Steamer Express, is a still sailing ship. And it has sailed along the coast of Norway for 130 years, and today it's mostly offering a cruise service for visitors, both Norwegian and foreign visitors. So very many has this very romantic vision of what is the Hurtigruten. It's just a beautiful voyage. It's the world's most beautiful voyage along the Norwegian coast. But for us, it's really important to tell the story about the function of the Hurtigruten, both today, but especially when it was invented 130 years ago. It was a way to connect north and south, coast and inland, and people to people. It was our way of traveling. It was our way of getting news and rumors, to bring newborn babies home and newly dead people back to the grave. It has been a critical infrastructure of the Norwegian country, at least to us in the north and all along the Norwegian coast. So for us, it's a challenge to kind of challenge the romantic image of today's Hurtigruten and bring an understanding to how it has been. And many things that, even though we have developed more into a modern society today, we're still living on the coast of Norway, very, very far north, and facing harsh weather elements and, well, tough conditions at times. So again, getting people out of the romantic vision and into the real world, it's kind of, it's an interesting challenge. We try to bring the knowledge through feelings and understanding and making hearts beat by sharing stories that are real, that are personal, that are not institutional. We share people's stories. We have been working a lot with collecting memories from people all over Norway to tell their stories from old days up until today, to try to touch the hearts and make people understand the institution and the meaning, not the romantic version. And I think it's a great challenge, and it's working. Another challenge is also that many people coming to our museum, they have no understanding of Hurtigruten. If you come from Italy or Brazil or anywhere in the world, you may not even understand that you're inside something that represents a vital part of Norwegian history. So that's also a challenge that we're facing, and also a fun one. And it's nice to see when people enter, they have heard about this great museum, but they don't know quite what it is. They have this kind of blank look on their face when they're coming, and you can see the heart beating on the outside of the shirt when they are leaving. That's very rewarding.
That must be, and you've actually made me think about a question to link all these disciplines here on the panel with your answer. And I'd like you to all think from your own perspective, your own museum's perspective, how can science and technology within our museums help society face challenges like climate change, health crisis, ethics, in a way that kind of unites people, because it's something that I think actually connects all of your museums. All of those topics kind of connect them all. Will we start with you, Lisa?
Yeah, one topic I'm thinking of directly is that we have had workshops. Our conservator, Anna, she's a specialist in textiles, and we have a lot of textiles and collections that shows different mending techniques. So we have had workshops to help getting rid of the idea that everything has to be thrown away. But then also I think that you had, the group before talked about resilience, and what I mentioned also in my presentation there is that it isn't a challenge when people not work. We need more and more people in the health sector working there. So it's also we think about sustainability and trying to engage people to maybe be a part of that.
So, if I may add something to your thoughts, the resilience is also important word in our work today, because we find it like one of our strategical aims, also to create place not only connected with exhibition, but also, for example, in our program we are concerning about the climate change, because we have a part connected with the gardens. So also projects which are taking part in this garden is connected with our responsibility as people, as citizens, for people who are living in Bydgoszcz, what we can do for climate change, what is our responsibility, and of course we have different channels. Our projects for children are different than projects for the adult people, of course. But this is, I'm really happy that in our branch of our museum, under this one pharmacy, that in this branch we are especially concerned about those topics. So thanks God we have pharmacy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Peggy, Anita?
I'm thinking in terms of, if I could expand on the topic, solidarity or sustainability. It's what we do in the museum is connecting people by connecting stories and knowledge. And we're bringing on the tradition that people along the coast, and I guess this goes for everywhere, wherever you are in the world, but if we find ways to connect people, we build society, we strengthen neighborships, we build solidarity, we build belief in each other, we have a neighbor, even if it's across on the other side of the fjord, we have some things that are making commonships between us. And that's also not only the Hurtigruten Museum or our museum's mission, but many cultural institutions' missions is to bring people together so that we can find one another in some sort of connection.
And Scotland's quite a close neighbour to Norway too. Agnieszka?
Yes, I think. Oh, sorry. I think that I have a little bit a different perspective, because on one side, like, photography is a great tool to talk about everything, you know, but on the other side, we are not really like a kind of a, I don't know, technology museum. So of course, everything that we do is to kind of research on photography and to touch very different subjects. And in that way, actually, the most important is what you all actually already also said, that we bring people together and we try to learn together, not only what does photography kind of does to us and how we interpret it, but we learn about the world through photography and about very different subjects. So we also, like, on the one hand, we are specialists on like photography, on the technology of photography, like on, I don't know, different cameras and, I don't know, different papers. But on the other hand, we are also specialists like on the history of photography and I'm not sure what we are, but we try to be with our audience, like to kind of talk about the world through photography. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There's a question here from the audience for Coast Express, which I think is quite interesting. Is such a difficult location to reach? Do you build your audience online or plan to do virtual tours? Sorry, yeah, I'll slow down. It's such a difficult location to reach where your museum is. Do you build your audience online, or have you got some other technological ideas to broaden your audience?
We attract our audience obviously online, but also we try to work a lot, how do you say it? Word travels by mouth. The museum is considered already as a big attraction in our region, and there is quite a lot of tourists traveling in our region. So we need to work as a part of a destination to kind of give the destination better content for the guests to choose that region. And once they are inside the region, we have a lot of ambassadors. We have presence in prints and digital screens, but we have presence in many ways that make people convince their guests to visit our museum. And then again, it's our job to make them understand why we're there and why this is a vital part of Norwegian history, if this makes any sense.
So you have quite an online presence?
Yes, we have an online presence, and we're maybe, I think, especially good on social media. But we also have, even though this is a part of Norwegian national history, it is also a history that has a lot of enthusiasts working in. Those, I don't mean to offend anyone, but many of the volunteers, they are quite old people, quite elderly people, and they have their own Facebook groups and social media groups and own clubs and own associations where they also work with the history, so to say. They are very interested in the topics that we're sharing. So they are also creating buzz around the museum. So it's not just us talking, having an online presence, but other people talking about us and making it a necessity to go see the museum for yourself to understand the history.
I'm conscious that this is the panel before lunch, so we don't want to run over for sure. But I do feel that we have to move into the future because we are time travelling after all. So a final question for everyone, and Agnieszka, I'll start with you and we can go down the line. If your museum could send one message to the future, what would it be, and how can you use your collection to express it?
Oh my God.
Will I repeat it?
High salary and long vacation. First of all.
Agnieszka.
It's difficult for me now. Yeah. So we have an exhibition that is our permanent exhibition, and the exhibition has this question: what does photography do? And then the exhibition ends actually with the part that is called Future, and it explains that photography and technology they have been always surprising us. So I just let us be surprised by what the future of photography will bring.
Thank you.
I think that it is all about, again, connecting the people. So if we manage to connect people to people by the use of stories or whatever tool we choose, that is the best way. And if I were just to make a wish list for the museum, I think I would gather different generations and try to share practical handheld information and immaterial culture in a big workshop with young people and old people, not necessarily children, but 14, 15, 16 years old, and meet those who are 60 plus and learn from them. Also the handheld and knowledge held love for people.
Thank you. Anna, do you want to say something?
Yes, I would like to say that we would like to send this message. Stay healthy, take care about yourself, and please visit our museums because there's a good place for you.
Yes, I would like to say also that the medical historical collections both bear witness of innovations and technical new frontiers in technical new ideas, but also it shows how you view other people and how your idea what a healthy person is or a sick person is, and I think that the medical historical collection can really show that this has changed through the ages, and perhaps you can be a bit more critical about how you look upon other people in your own time. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, you know who they are, you know what they look like. If there's any questions or more conversation you would like to have with members from this panel, please do so at lunchtime. I'm sure you would be happy to have conversations with some of our European colleagues. Give them a round of applause, they did great. Thank you. Pedro and Pietra, are you announcing lunch?
Of course. Yeah. So hello everyone, again. I met Piotr last year in Portimao. Already knew he was a man of many talents, but this morning he surprised me with another one. So I'll take the following moments to show again that talent. Because że jedzenie w Białymstoku jest bardzo smaczne. Pora obiadu.
Pedro just said that the food in Białystok is very delicious, and now it's the lunchtime. An announcement here, ladies and gentlemen, the lunch will not take at the same place as the coffee break did. It's downstairs, just next to the reception desk. So have a wonderful time, and we are meeting here at 3 p.m.